What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Let Dirt Fly YouTube channel. Today is garage episode number 2, where we're reviving my 2020 Can-Am Outlander 650 XMR. Now you might ask, why the heck are you reviving a quad that's only a year old? Well, turns out when you're running 31-inch tires and you spend most every weekend in the mud, things wear out, things break, and this is part of when you're riding quads. So if you caught our last video, you would have seen that Seth and I actually changed our rear differential seals because both of them were leaking their guts out, and also some CV boots, which were really bad, like really bad. Go check that video out. But while we were tearing apart the quads, I saw my brake pads and they were not happy. They were actually really bad. Now when it comes to brake pads, there are probably thousands of options out there. There's all kinds of different compounds and all kinds of crazy stuff. Now for mudding, most people would say go right for a brass pad. But for me, I don't do mudding all the time. I might do it on camera for you guys, but I don't do it all the time. So I need something that still works good in the dry conditions and everything. So I actually went to Can-Am Parts Guy's website and picked up a set of these bad boys. So these are DP Brakes 515 and 516 brake pads. And according to them, these are excellent for wet and dry conditions, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And also they have low pad wear, no brake dust, which I hate brake dust because it sticks to your wheels and makes things all kinds of really crappy. So I'm gonna give these guys a try. Now right now I have the race driven mud something or others. I'll post it right here, what I had before. And those things lasted about 2.5 rides. Not good. So my OEM pads lasted a lot longer than that. So I'm gonna give these guys a try. And now I know you guys are probably gonna bleep down in the comments down below all kinds of different brake pad makes and models and all kinds of stuff. And I will be willing to try them. But right now I'm gonna give these a try and see how they go. So today we're gonna go ahead and install these and I'm gonna show you how. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and jack up the front of the quad. Let's get these tires off and get a better look at what we're dealing with. All right, so once you got your wheels off, you can finally get in here and see what you're dealing with. Like I said, I can finally see, and I'll show you guys in a minute here when I get a close-up. My pads are basically going in the front and in the back. Wait till you see those guys. So before I go ahead and take off the caliper, the first thing I usually like to do is there's a small clip here. I'll show you a close-up right now. We're gonna remove that guy out of there and then actually take a little punch and a hammer, and we're gonna go ahead. There's a pin right here at the top of the caliper. You're gonna wanna push that guy back because we're gonna use that to get the brake pads off. All right, so like I said, first things first, we're gonna wanna go ahead and pop this little clip out here and lose it just like I did. All right, so once you get your clip found, I'm gonna go ahead and set that in a safe spot. And like I said, there's this pin right here. We're gonna wanna just hammer this guy out of the way now before we even go ahead and start removing the caliper. There we go, just like that. All right, so now once that pin is loose, and you'll see the brake pads start kind of falling around, you're gonna wanna go ahead and grab a 15mm, and we're gonna go ahead and remove, there's 2 bolts that actually holds on your lovely mud guards. I know guys have so much fun with these guys. Mine aren't affecting my quad too much because I got 14-inch wheels, but the guys that are running 12s, yeah, these guys do some damage. You can remove them at this point when you're changing your brake pads, but you have to remember you have to use washers behind here to replace the space for your for the mud guard, because otherwise it's going to bottom out on the rotor. And ask me how I know. I might have done it by accident. All right, so you grab your nice impact here. You don't have to use an impact, you can use a wrench. Probably easier with a wrench, to be honest. And we're gonna take that guy right up there. So there's a washer on this bolt too, so make sure you guys don't lose that either. Like I said, if you're replacing or taking off the mud guard, you're gonna want to run some more washers or cut the bolt down or get a smaller bolt. All right, so mud guard comes out here. Boom. Set our bolts off to the side, and off comes our caliper and the brake pads. Nice. Yeah, so as you can see, my brake pads were gone. So this was just after, holy crap, look at that. I was actually riding on metal right there. Jeez Louise, how the heck? This was after 2 rides. Like I said, these are the mud-driven brake pads. Clearly don't recommend them, unfortunately. They were a cheaper pad, and I should have kind of known and everything. Luckily, it doesn't feel like it messed up my rotor too much or anything like that, running them like this. But this pad is completely gone, and the other one is pretty far close to it. So right now, we're gonna go ahead and grab our C-clamp, and we're gonna go ahead and push in our pistons on the caliper. All right, so before throwing away your old brake pads, one thing you're gonna wanna do is actually stick one of the old ones back in here, preferably the side that belongs to the inside. You can actually see that mine, oops, don't lose the pin for the pads here. That'd be bad. But you can actually see once they get worn out too much, they actually can't even sit in the socket that they're supposed to anymore, which is not good. But what we're gonna do, we're actually gonna use the old pad to help us out here. If I can position this so. And then what we're gonna do is use the pad to help compress the piston here. Now one thing you wanna do, I already did, is crack open your master cylinder up top and put a rag underneath it because you might be making a mess up top. So I'm just gonna push this side in just a little bit because I gotta go to the other side and start compressing that. I wanna try to do this evenly if I can, just to make things easier. All right, so basically I usually just run these guys until they're flush. Just this way I can leave extra room for the new brake pads because they're gonna take up a lot more room than our old wore out ones. So like I said, I go ahead and freaking run them home. All right, so once you get your pistons run in, see if I can show you that on camera somehow. There you go, kind of see it. Once you get these guys pushed in as far as you possibly can, next thing you wanna do is just make sure that the caliper can move back and forth on the mount. See how mine moves like that? You're gonna wanna make sure that moves because if it doesn't, your brake pads are gonna wear unevenly and they're not gonna be happy. So make sure that's moving back and forth, and also for the pin, make sure this guy is nice and clean also so that the brake pads can ride freely on these. Like I said, you want everything moving freely so this way everything wears evenly, and hopefully the pads last more than 2.5 rides like mine did last time. All right, time to install our new brake pads. So like I said, going with the DP 516 and 515 brake set. So these are the 516s, which is the right side, and then they also have the 515, sorry, that are the left side. So these guys are different. If you look here, if you can see the shape of them. Oops, if I can get you in the camera, there you are. So you can see the shape is slightly different. So you got to make sure that this guy with the square kind of end is going to go on the inside of the caliper. So she's going to go in there just like so. Boom, just like that. Should fit in there nicely. Like I said, a little square kind of fits in over by the one slide here. And then this guy is going to go ahead and kind of hook on this, slide up in here. Then we are going to go ahead and grab our good old pin, get this guy back in there. I don't push it all the way in just yet. I kind of leave it temporarily, and I drive her home when I get it back on the quad. Then we're going to go ahead and slide it onto our rotor. There you go, just like that. The next step is you're going to go ahead and grab your bolts again. Now you can re-Loctite these. With how often I change my brakes, I really don't see me needing to do that. But they actually run like the yellow kind of Teflon-y Loctite from the factory. As you can see, it's flaking off here. But next you're going to go ahead and grab your good old mud guard if you're going to run this guy again. Like I said, if you're not going to run this guy, just make sure you grab some washers that are at least that thick, so this way you aren't messing up your rotor. All right, so this guy just slides right back down in here, and then you just line up your bolts, and it's kind of self-explanatory from there. All right, now Can-Am probably has some really fancy torque spec they want you to torque the caliper to. I'm just gonna give her a good couple, like 3 or 4 ugga-duggas, and I think that should just about do it. All right, and last step, don't forget about your pin here. You're gonna wanna make sure this is all lined up here. All right, so now before pushing your pin all the way in, one thing you're gonna wanna do is just make sure that the little hole in the pin for your clip here is kind of facing horizontal with the caliper, I guess you could say, like this way. This makes this way it's easier to install the pin because this guy does not rotate very good, as you could imagine. So we're just gonna go ahead, take our punch again, give her a couple love taps here, see the hole, and take your pin. The little 90-degree end on the pin should be facing in towards the quad. Boom, just like that. And as one set of brakes done. Now we're gonna go ahead, take the other side off, do the same thing, and then I'll show you how to do it on the rear. All right, just like that, the left caliper is done. Like I said, it's just a mirror process of the other side there, but everything came out good. Like I said, these pads, again, not good. These things were really wore out. So hopefully getting some more life out of these guys. Then we're gonna go to the back of the quad, and those ones are real bad. Wait till you see these ones. All right, so the rear of the quad is basically the same as the front. Now I have some aftermarket rear extended trailing arms here. As you can see, they look a lot different than your stock setup. So you guys are gonna have one extra step than I do, but there is a bolt that's actually holding on the brake line. Takes a 10mm wrench and socket, and you just pop that guy out. It helps you swing the caliper out a little bit, otherwise it's a little tight to work. But other than that, it's basically the same back here. We're gonna grab our 15mm on the impact here. We're just gonna impact this guy off. But like I said, before we do that, I'm just gonna do the pin trick and pop the pin out prior to popping this off, because it just makes it easier to get that guy out before dismounting it. So like I mentioned before, my rear pads, yeah, they are gone. This is after 2.5 rides. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention too is if you have certain Can-Ams also have a rear caliper on the left. Again, it's the same thing. Most of you guys are just gonna have a caliper on the right-hand side, but some guys do have both. Very rare though. But yeah, these pads were garbage. So I'm gonna go ahead, compress the caliper now, and get the new pads in there. All right guys, so just like that, the quad is back on the ground and ready to rip again. Now I say that, but we still have some more stuff to do to this quad yet. We have something going on with the steering. It's actually the pitman arm we found out in the last video. So I have a solution coming from J Parts that's gonna help solve that issue, and we're gonna be one of the first YouTube channels to cover that. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you're not. And obviously like and comment on this video. We really appreciate everything you guys do and all the support you guys give us. So if you guys want to stay up to date and check out some of the behind the scenes stuff, make sure you head on over to our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Over there you can catch some of the early content as far as trailers, where we're going, all kinds of crazy stuff. We usually post there first before we post to YouTube, and we also let you guys usually know in advance when a video is going to be coming out. So head on over there right now. So with that, we will catch you guys next time on Let Dirt Fly.
Have you forgotten